Madam Clerk, please call the roll for the zoning portion of DPS. Here.
Here.
All right, we only have one piece. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We only have one. Can you hear me on this? No. Now I can. Okay, there we go. Now you can, rather. Mrs. Leonard, come on up. We have one zoning piece, ordinance number 670-2025 by Councilmember House Jones. An ordinance changing the use area and height districts of parcels of land north and south of Payne Avenue between East 32nd Street and East 38th Street as shown on the attached map change 2692. Thank you, Mrs. Leonard.
Thank you. Good morning. Shannon Leonard, Chief Zoning Administrator. So this map change that you're seeing here today is to promote walkability and support a diversity of housing typologies, which is in alignment with the Connecting Cleveland 2020 Comprehensive Citywide Plan and the Midtown Neighborhood Plan. It's to replace the long vacant Dave's grocery store with affordable housing. It's to promote infill development with 55 units of affordable housing along the south side of Payne Avenue. It's to promote walkability by establishing map setbacks in context with the existing building form and uses along Payne, and to revitalize Payne Avenue and provide neighborhood amenities for new and existing residents. And so the current zoning that you see here is a mix of two-family, local retail and semi-industry. On the northern side of Payne, as this lot has been consolidated, it's created a split zoning issue. And when you have a split zoning issue, the most restrictive zoning applies, which in this case, the northern parcel would have been considered two-family. As you can see here, this is from the Connecting Cleveland 2020 Comprehensive Plan. The proposed land use for this site is a mix of retail as well as mixed use, so that's residential and retail. Since that plan was effective as of 2007, Midtown has done their own neighborhood plan, and if you can see up in the northern corner, I don't think the pointer here works, but maybe it does. Up here, it's also calling for residential and mixed use. This is just giving you some indications of the Midtown plan, and Midtown can discuss this more, but really they're looking to encourage new housing developments, and their neighborhood plan that I believe was either 2019 or 2020 adopted plan, and then also reduce some of the housing stress and make sure that they maintain affordability for the existing residents. Again, this is just giving you a little bit more. This specific corridor that we're talking about here where the Dave's is, they call for mixed use and residential. Again, the Asiatown retail, they want mixed use residential here on the Payne border. And so what we're proposing here is there is a state of Ohio finance project for affordable housing is stated in the purpose of the rezoning to revitalize the old Dave's that's been vacant for some time, and changing both the northern and southern parcels to limited retail in alignment with the comp plan as well as the Midtown neighborhood plan, and then adding these 0-foot setbacks along Payne from East 33rd down on the north side as well as on the south side. And that's really, as you'll notice in the next few slides, to allow for contextual infill development, promote walkability, as well as many of these buildings are already at the 0-foot property line. And the limited retail will allow a mix of uses. As most of you on this committee know, map setbacks are a required front yard space in which no structures may be located. They're indicated on the building zone maps of the city from either the property line or the street center line. They take precedence over all of our other setback regulations, and they can only be changed with legislation such as this. So this is the existing context of this area that is being proposed to be rezoned as limited retail, as well as to add those map setbacks. As you can see here on the north side, that is the existing vacant Dave's. The current context along the street, this is showing you how there's many structures where there's not vacant property as having a 0-foot setback. The intent is to maintain that setback. That promotes walkability, eyes on the street, makes the street safer for residences and businesses alike. The current context here, just giving you some images, where you see on the northern map is essentially where we were standing when this picture was taken. So this is looking east down Payne Avenue at that vacant Dave's. Again, this is looking from East 33rd Street looking north. This is looking east along Payne Avenue generally, or looking south in the northern. You see the vacant parking lot across the street from the Daves. This is also looking west on Payne, and this is the corner of East 33rd and Payne Avenue. And this is the site of the redevelopment on the north side that has the split zoning. And then this is on the south side where the redevelopment will be, which is zoned semi-industry. And this is East 36th Street looking north, and then also looking west across the lot. And so the proposal here is to change the north and south to limited retail G2 to allow for this development, as well as adding the map setbacks along along Payne Avenue from East 32nd down to East 38th Street, and then on the south side from East 32nd to East 37th Street. And what that'll allow is for all of the existing buildings to be be able to have the opportunity to be turned into mixed use and residential opportunities without having a front yard setback issue, as well as allow infill development that is contextual with the street currently, but also with the citywide as well as Midtown neighborhood plans. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Litter. All right, before we go to the committee, we'll go to individuals who have signed in for public comment. We'll open the public comment portion of the meeting. First, we have on the list Ms. Liu in the red. Is that Ms. Liu? Come on up. Okay. Yeah, they can come up with you. You have them sit there. Yeah. It's only a few. We can do 3 minutes. Yep, press the button till you see green. There you go. All right, Mrs. Liu, good morning. Always a pleasure to see you.
Good morning, everybody. City of Cleveland actually has very diverse populations. You know, different ages. If you really want to specify different complexions, I will say that here as well. However, Asian population actually collectively has no representation in city council or any level of a serious decision-making entities. No representations. This particular project, yes, is from city's point of view, it's a good project. However, if you look at the neighborhoods, this project actually has been objected by the existing residents. But Asian population, the working poor Latinos, in general, we don't really have representations. Actually, after I have been talking to these people for a long time, for 2 years, actually people in this area, they actually do not want this project to come in. However, when city make the effort to get all these tax credit projects in, trying to build newer housing, you know, so you don't get into lead problem, mold problem, all these things are good. But I don't really understand for the current demographic there, why we want to put a project which is helping family raising children in the area you don't really have enough daycare operations. You don't have lots of the school choices. That's not really a good idea. So that means later people applying for these apartments, they may not be the people really with the children to fulfill the original idea of this project. On the other hand, actually the better way to attract the family moving into this area would be if you make the apartment as the tax credit one for seniors. When these seniors right now current are homeowners, when they do not want to manage a home, they are moving to apartments. These homes could go to families. So it may take a little bit longer time to do it that way. It may look a little bit faster to do current way. You are deciding now. But the potential to displace the existing population in the area is extremely high. Even the people with different complexion right now living in this area full of Asians and working Latinos, they actually want to see these people are around them. That's why they moved there in the first place. So if the original residents will be displaced, how will we keep this Asian town?
Thank you, Ms. Liu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Liu. All right, next we have Carolyn. Is it Bonner?
Oh, Carolyn Beamer. I
Carolyn Beamer?
apologize. I'm here on
Okay.
behalf
Are
of the
you in the
developer.
NRP group? Okay.
Yes.
We'll hold for you.
Sure.
Naomi, come on up. Sit there. All right. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Naomi Jia. I'm business manager for Asiatown at Midtown Cleveland Inc., CTC. Yeah, I'm coming here mostly want to experience this meeting. This is my first time. Also want to hear what's the feedbacks from the community.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. I see it now. Okay. Midtown Cleveland. So these are your folks. Okay. All right. Is there anybody else here from the community who did not sign in, who wanted to speak? Okay. All right. Come on up, because I don't have you on the list, but you can go ahead and speak since she probably got the list to me before you walked in. All right. Ms. Naomi, can you switch places, please? Thank you so much.
We couldn't hear back there.
Gotcha.
What the proposal was. What is the?
Can you speak into the microphone for me so we can
I'm
hear
sorry.
you?
The properties in the existing area, what happens to these? We couldn't hear what is the proposal
Mrs.
for
Leonard?
that.
Good morning. So the proposal here is a rezoning of the property north and south that you see on the map to limited retail business G2. And that's because there is a mix of zoning here that includes local retail, two-family, and semi-industry. And because the lots have been consolidated, it creates a split zoning. The proposal on the north side is for a mixed-use building, mostly residential, with about 3,000 square feet of retail on the first floor. And on the southern side of Payne, it's also, I believe, for 55 units of affordable mixed housing. Ms. Boner here can speak more to the project itself if you're specifically curious about the project itself.
Well, we have Family Dollar at 3407.
Okay.
What's going to happen to that property?
There's nothing is going to happen to the property. The rezoning is not going to affect your property in any kind of way. You can maintain your Family Dollar as is.
But should they want to do something different after this is passed, it would affect them, correct?
Can you, I don't know exactly which
It's next to the
address is-
Dave store.
Oh, next to the,
Well,
on the north side. So the zoning of limited retail allows for you to do a whole host of uses under the limited retail zoning designation. You could be several different types of retail, but nothing is going to affect you. If you wanted to be retail or residential, you could maintain that.
have they decided on what retail was going to be going in there?
No, not at this time.
So it could affect our property and our building and the Family Dollar.
Are you talking about the retail at the proposed development?
Yes.
It'll be retail that is compatible with the residential mixed use of the building.
And can you explain a little further for the guests what that means?
Yeah, so, yeah.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Yeah, so I see we both, through the chair to the team here. So we actually have a representative here from NRP and Midtown, and so I did see the executive director here. So I will have, if I can just ask them to come up to actually talk about the feedback that we've heard from the several community meetings of potential retail opportunities that we are discussing, and then we can have that conversation.
Sure.
So,
I know we have NRP and CDC director is here. Can you all share with, what's your name again?
Carol.
Carol?
Yes.
Some of the retail aspects of the project and, what you all are proposing to be on site?
Good
morning. Thank you. So we have had 5 community meetings, largely well attended from residents and business owners in the neighborhood. We've collected some feedback by postcards and had some one-on-one conversations with residents. So really trying to be thorough and extensive in the conversations we've had with community members about this project, about the entirety of the project. But as it relates to the question about retail, there's been a couple of themes that have come up from the conversations we've had. Residents have asked for a third space or somewhere to gather, community center, computer labs, cafe, and a gym are largely the themes that have come up as it relates to the retail space in this project. We have started some initial conversations with operators who could take over the retail space that we're not able to share yet, but that would align with the themes that have arisen from the community engagement that we've done so far. And we're committed to identifying a tenant for that commercial space that does align with what the community would like to see.
Does that answer your question, Carol?
Well, somewhat, yeah. But I mean, it's not determined yet, but
Correct.
it's just that could affect the Family Dollar
Potentially.
income. Yes.
All right. Well, I know the CDC director and our representative from NRP, I'm sure they will, if you want to step to the back and they'll have further conversations with you or out in the hallway. I'm sure they will welcome that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I don't see anyone else in the audience that we've missed. All right. We'll close the public comment portion of the meeting. Madam Clerk or any member of the committee, have we received any correspondences from residents regarding this project? Nothing? Okay. All right. We'll come back to you, Mrs. Leonard, and if you want to share any additional information about the project that maybe wasn't shared during the presentation, you're welcome to do so. If not, then we're okay with that as well.
Okay, thank you. Sure. No additional information to share. I will add, the week before last, we were unanimously approved by the Ohio Housing Finance Agency Board, and that's a tidbit that just recently occurred. So happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. All right, Councilwoman House Jones.
Mike, this morning. I thank you through the chair. As our Midtown team had expressed, there had been 5 community meetings. In addition, my office actually held our community meeting. So we had a 6th community meeting regarding this project, in addition to offering a site visit to see a similarly NRP visit with more to come. And so this is continuing to be an ongoing process for community members to be able to provide input in the design of the space, as well as taking suggestions as to what the retail space could potentially be. And at the end of the day, we know we are in desperate need of additional housing units here in the city of Cleveland. Our area within Asiatown is not exempt from that. Keeping to the tune of having a culturally diverse community, which is made up of, like I said, the multitude of community members in our community. And like I said, I would probably say it's probably one of the most, if not most, diverse community in the city of Cleveland. And we want to continue to expound upon that. And we've gotten feedback for some residents that have been hesitant, in addition to community members who are really excited about what the future holds. And so we're really looking forward to this project moving forward. And thank you for the time.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other questions from the committee? All right, seeing no further questions from the committee, thank you everyone for providing your comments publicly today. Ordinance number 670-2025 stands approved. All right. All right. We'll end the zoning portion of the meeting. Madam Clerk, please call the roll for our general DPS agenda. Welcome. Here. Here. All right, thank you. We will start with ordinance number 716-2025 by council members Harrison and Griffin, by departmental request, an emergency ordinance authorizing Director of Community Development to enter into one or more contracts with the Ohio State University for the purpose of implementing the soil lead testing and mitigation components for the 2025 Summer Sprouts Community Gardening Program, Department of Community Development, for a period of 1 year. Director.
Thank you, Chairman. This item is, as you all are fully aware of our Summer Sprouts program, this item is to help the gardeners this year as the EPA has changed the guidance, or actually the guidelines, for testing lead. Or the threshold for what is considered contaminated and not contaminated. So that is in the least technical way that I can say it, before a threshold of 400 parts per million was acceptable of lead, and now they have had that go down to 200 parts per million, is now the unacceptable threshold. What that means is, for gardens that have a threshold between 200 and 400, there needs to be some remediation, right, to get it under that 200 level. So types of remediation that can happen are, for instance, raised beds. That, of course, costs dollars. So as we are trying to do our best to be compliant in this program and to deal with these updated EPA guidelines, what we're needing to do is add an additional $67,954, so nearly $68,000, to help with both additional testing for this year as well as remediation on some of those sites. And so we are seeking approval so that we can have the gardeners continue to garden safely. As you all know, many of these gardens, they're producing food for the community. We want to ensure that the community is safe throughout that process. So this is adding an additional nearly $68,000 to do that. This is happening through general fund dollars and not through the typical CDBG dollars that the rest of the Summer Sprouts contract is happening. Happy to answer any questions. This does have some time pressures on it because the gardens are active right now, and we want to make sure that the gardeners that have expended any dollars, that they're able to get those proper reimbursements.
Great. Thank you. Have we identified how many gardens will need additional assistance who don't meet the new guidelines?
We have some approximates, but this is some approximations, but this is so that we can actually do some of that testing as well. So that testing is ongoing, as well as remediation. But in conversation with OSU Extension, they believe that this amount will in addition to the CDBG dollars, will help to continue the program without delay.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions from the committee? Councilwoman.
Good morning. Thank you. I did have a couple questions, mostly to edify myself, because frankly, I hadn't clocked this issue until we got some public comments this spring about it, and I know there was a lot of confusion for the gardeners, and continues to be a lot of confusion for me. So I'm going to ask some questions with the hopes of better understanding how everything is interlocking right now. So this, the EPA change in standards, which we all want us to hit a safety threshold, right? We're all in agreement about that. This impacts our community gardens because these community gardens are receiving funds and support through the Summer Sprouts program through the chair. Is that correct?
Yes, and not just through the chair, not just because it's a Summer Sprouts program, but because that Summer Sprouts program is funded by CDBG. There are cross-cutting federal regulations that we must follow.
Okay, thank you. So any community garden that wishes to be part of the Summer Sprouts program now must meet this 200 parts per million threshold.
Correct.
Thank you.
Chair.
And when did that? When when did the city become aware of that, and when did the gardens become aware of that through the chair?
So it was in the last season through the chair. It was in the last season, and this is playing catch up. We have also done some transitioning of staff, taking this program from one area of the department to another area of the department, so that it can get the attention that it really needs. Through the chair, the program was previously held in Land Bank. This is obviously not the type of work that Land Bank does, right? Land Bank is about transacting and moving lots, and this is a bit more in depth. And we realized within the last year and a half that we were going to need to have a little bit more attention on this, so we have moved it from out of Land Bank into our grant management area.
Thank you.
So that we can improve.
Thank you. And just to make sure I understand the answer, so the city became aware of this at the end of last gardening season through the chair?
Yes.
And when did the gardens become aware of it, and when did they start testing through the chair?
So we have been testing this year, and this has come up through our contracting, not with the gardeners. So through the chair, we don't contract directly with gardeners.
Right.
We contract with OSU Extension, and this came up in our contract negotiations with them on behalf of the gardeners.
Understood. And I think you know the point I'm getting to, which is that what I have heard and what's happened to some of the Ward 12 gardens is that they haven't been able to open due to the delay in understanding the new requirements and then testing. Is it your understanding, Director, that some gardens have not been able to open this season because of the timeline around the lead testing requirements through the chair?
Through the chair, not specifically, but I know that is a possible outcome. That is why we want to get this measure passed right away, so that we can get those dollars flowing out to the garden, so that we can reduce any delay. This is a piece that we wanted to bring last month during the committee of the whole, and it didn't quite make it. So we are a bit delayed.
Okay, understood. And I'm a gardener myself, and we're at June 8th, and so there's not, if you didn't get your tomatoes in, you're not getting tomatoes this
7/16.
season. To clarify, at this point, my understanding is that many of the gardens are putting up their own money to do the soil
67,000.
testing. Is this money going to be used to
7/16.
reimburse gardens that have paid for their own soil testing, or are we paying for our own testing at this stage through the chair?
Through the chair, this is to help to reimburse.
Okay. And what are gardeners going to have to do to submit for reimbursement? Because this process hasn't been established before. People were scrambling. They were contacting my office saying, where can I get a lead soil test? We had brought in the EPA to do free soil shops for the past 2 summers, but the soil shop was not up and running here in Cleveland this summer. So people were paying $20 a test. What are they going to have to do to prove and get reimbursement through the chair?
Through the chair, this process is managed by OSU Extension. So we have the contract with OSU Extension. We are sort of rolling down the requirements of the federal government that is associated with these dollars, and it is on OSU Extension to communicate what that process is with the gardeners.
So through the chair to the director, you are not going to be who gets these funds? Essentially, we're allocating general fund dollars to you, but you're saying it's going directly to OSU, and then OSU will be reimbursing through the chair.
Correct.
Okay. Would you say that the communication with OSU Extension and the gardeners has been at the level you want it to be at this season? Do you think it's been clear to everybody what's been going on through the chair?
We've had transition both from the department side as well as, I don't want to speak for OSU Extension, but I know that there's been some transition there as well. I know that the gardeners have expressed some disdain about the program, and we are fully aware of that. I do want to, though, kind of bring up that our contract is with one entity and not with the many gardeners, and that's for a lot of different reasons. But most of all, there are hundreds of gardens. There's 100 gardens, and we can't have individual relationships with each of those gardens for this program. So that's why we go through the process of working with OSU Extension. But certainly, I'm aware of complaints that have come through.
Okay, thank you. I guess my last question, you know, we're in mid-July. This is not, you know, we're trying to figure out what the next steps are. And frankly, like, you know, thinking about land management, it's not the worst thing for a bed to lie fallow for a year, but you could like plant a cover crop and make sure that we're, you know, getting more nutrients in the soil to make sure that lead isn't being taken up by the plants that grow there. Is it your understanding that currently the gardeners are prohibited from even like planting a cover crop or flowers or something that could not meaningfully extract lead and cause harm? Is that something that you're aware of right now, Chair?
Through the chair, I am not aware of the gardening process.
Okay.
So and unfortunately, our staff member who heads up this work is out for an emergency today.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So sorry that I am lacking on some answers here.
No, thank you. And you know, I'll conclude here. I'll just reiterate, like, we all want to make sure that the gardens are safe, and making sure that gardens in an industrial city like Cleveland don't have high levels of lead is a huge issue. It's why we've had the EPA come in and do these soil shops. We want to be educating gardeners. I think that there was a balance here to strike between making sure that the produce that comes out of these gardens is safe, and making sure that these gardens, which are community spaces, which are a great source of joy, are were frankly like maintained and utilized this summer. And I don't think we quite struck the right balance. But I'm also eager to fix it, and I understand that this. Setting aside this money is in an effort to fix it. I just also think there are going to be other communication steps we need to take to make sure everyone's on the same page. So I do support this, though I'm not a member of the committee, but I did want to express that I hope that we don't get stuck in the same position where some gardens aren't open yet this season. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. All right, any other questions from the committee? Councilman Harsh, and then Councilman Joe Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the chair to the director, the summary says the amount is 1.2 million for this for 716.
That's the error.
So okay, so this
And if you go to 664 executive summary, that information is correct. But
664.
716 also has some right to counsel, and on the top, and then also it gives the 1.2 for the CDC funding stuff. It's all messed up.
So, okay, because the ordinance itself, 716, so this, we're talking about 716, right? This is,
Yes.
okay, 716, says that the amount's not to exceed 67,954? And so that's the amount that we're considering?
Yes.
Okay. And through the chair to the director, that's for all 200 gardens combined? That's all they need?
Through the chair, this is additional dollars on top of the already allocated CDBG dollars
Yeah.
that I believe is close to 130,000.
Okay. And through the chair, is it true that many gardens are managed by volunteers?
Through the chair, yes, to my
Okay.
knowledge, yes.
And through the chair, is it also true that the city asks them to indemnify the city against any problems arising from the garden?
Through the chair, I don't know the specific language, but any time that there is a lease on public land,
Yeah.
yes, there are some
Yeah,
requirements
right.
to ensure that the city is not on the hook.
So through the chair, if there were to be a problem arising from, or a perceived problem arising from the garden, the managers would be the ones that could be held accountable by the community?
Through the chair, I don't know that it would be the managers or through our contract with OSU Extension.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I have no concern about the dollars here. I guess my concern, Mr. Chair, is like, as we have ever decreasing amounts of acceptable lead, I believe we raise the risk of people involved in activities that include lead. And what I'm saying is, if some kid in the neighborhood had elevated an EBL, and that kid ate a carrot grown at a community farm or a neighborhood plot, would that kid's parents then turn around and go after the community gardener that might have grown the carrot that the kid ate, with us not knowing whether or not the carrot was the cause of the elevated blood lead? But hey, if the soil was tested above 200, we're doing micrograms, well, no, whatever. I guess that's an issue for a different day, but it seems to be like the whole thing is getting more and more problematic as we continue to decrease the amount of acceptable lead. We make more and more people prone to liability for lead, which I don't know if that's going to solve our problem or not. But I have no objection to the amount, Mr. Chair, and I'm fine with the legislation. I just think it's a bigger picture question that we also have to ask.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further questions from the committee? Councilman Joe Jones. I'm sorry, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for clarification on 716-2025, the 1.2 million is going to be used as a part of this legislation?
No, that's not correct. The
Okay.
executive summary under 716 is incorrect. Do not.
So forget
look at
about
it.
that.
Forget about it.
So what we're talking about is 67,000 then?
Yes, sir.
That's what this legislation
Yes.
is actually talking about?
Yes, sir.
And, Mr. Chairman, to the director, I guess the question would be, the purpose is to have this money set aside to test the soil, correct?
Through the chair, this is to both test the soil and for mitigation efforts. So that may look like a raised bed rather than planting directly into the soil. Yes, these dollars are to help support those efforts.
Oh, I see. And this is only for those areas where we've actually have been gardening for years. Because there's some areas, that we're still gardening in, but we don't know, so then this money can be used to test the actual soil, is what you're saying to us.
Through the chair, this is for the 2025 Summer Sprouts Gardening Program participants.
Right, and it's just to
Those
use the general fund dollars, just to make sure I'm clear here, because block grant money you can't use the block grant money to test for the soil?
That is actually incorrect. So this is additional general fund dollars because that's where we needed additional dollars. CDBG can cover it and is covering the gardening program. And because we're using CDBG in this program, it carries all of those federal requirements. These additional general fund dollars are to help ease those federal requirements so that we can meet those federal requirements, but not at a cost to the gardeners.
I see. All right, no further questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, to the director.
Thank you. And Director, I would assume because, you can move a little bit quicker with the general fund dollars and not have to jump through all of the hoops, checking the box and all the things that you have to do with CDBG dollars like we have to do for the $130,000 that we give to the program in general, correct?
Through the chair, yes. But what I will also say is that an additional nearly
Is needed.
$68,000 wasn't budgeted
Correct.
For this past year, and so this is in addition to.
Extra money that's needed that we didn't think about, plus it gives you a little more flexibility in terms of timing and being able just to do the work, correct?
Through the chair, yes.
All right, sounds good. Any further questions from the committee? Seeing none, 716-2025 stands approved. All right. Where is United Way? Why aren't they here?
So United Way is actually not part of this. I'm going to be asking for an amendment where United Way is going to be taken out of this and will go directly with legal aid.
Okay.
And we did not have enough notice to bring them there, to bring them here.
All right. Ordinance number 664-2025 by council members Harrison and Griffin, by departmental request and emergency ordinance authorizing Director of Development to enter into one or more agreements with United Way of Greater Cleveland as the lead partner organization to implement a program to provide access to legal services for covered individuals in eviction proceedings under Section 375.12 of the Codified Ordinance of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, legal representation in housing court. Director.
Okay, so, Chairman, this, I'm going to be asking for a few amendments at the table that did not make it here, and I have them written out. But those two amendments are striking United Way of Greater Cleveland as a lead partner organization, and instead adding Legal Aid Society. So as the United Way is going through some changes, they have requested to be taken out of this and that we contract directly with Legal Aid Society. And so we, want to be responsive to that request. Additionally, in Section 3, where it says $500,000, we would like to raise that to $750,000. This matches the change that happened last year, I believe at the table where council actually added additional dollars to this program, which at the time was going for United Way. But we wanted to match what you all did last year, not what we proposed last year, which was the $500,000.
And is this continuing a current contract
This is for a new contract, Chairman.
or new contracts? Do we have the start dates? Let me make sure this is correct.
I do not have that with me. Typically, we're on a June start date. So,
All right. Mr. Tyson, can you make sure that we get when the current contract ends and when we believe this one will begin before tomorrow's committee? I got you, Councilman.
can certainly produce that. And again, my same lead is out for an emergency.
Okay.
This morning, I
Gotcha.
believe she broke her leg. Is what I learned as I was coming down here. So,
Yeah, stay off them stilts. See how kicking it in the summer.
I guess so.
And also, you just need to verify that 750 is what we allocated during the budget process as well. Okay. All right. And I'm just reading United Way, take them off, make Legal Aid Society as the lead partner. Okay. All right. Is there any other changes that you are asking us to consider today?
I am not, but I will just say, I know many of us, I have seen many of you at the annual reports for Legal Aid Society. You know that they're one of the strongest partners that the city has for helping our most vulnerable residents in their eviction process. And so just they are great partners with or without United Way, and we want to continue as an administration to support them in the work that they do.
Thank you. Councilman Joe Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On this particular piece here, we started this, just for clarification, we started this, historically speaking, during around the COVID time, is that correct? To help, people who were being forced through the eviction process to kind of like slow that down and have a moratorium on that. Can you give a review of how we are where we are?
Through the chair, I can't say through my own recollection because I was not here, but
Before
I
COVID.
would ask those that were here to
Former
to weigh
Council
in.
President Kevin Kelly and others, I don't know, I forget who the others were, but him primarily, right? Councilman McCormick?
Yeah, Mr.
Brought this
Chairman, I
forward.
believe this is prior to
to COVID.
COVID, yes.
Yeah.
Now, I do believe through the chair that there was added dollars through
Through the
ARPA.
COVID, Yeah.
Which is through COVID. So that may be where that's kind of coming up. So the program existed. I
Prior
believe
to.
that there was a boost during COVID through ARPA dollars.
Correct.
And I guess I don't know if we have this information or not. When we look at the number of people who actually own their homes and home ownership in the city of Cleveland versus the people who are renting in the city of Cleveland, do we have an idea of how many people are actually renters in the city of Cleveland versus homeowners?
Through the chair, the last number that I had said that we are 68% rental. I think that's the last number that I have had.
So
we are
you're saying
primarily
it's
rental.
68, almost 70% rental property now in the city of Cleveland?
We have very high percentage of rental, yes.
Do we know, or do we have like a breakdown of where the rental housing in the city of Cleveland is located? What
the ch-
neighborhoods that give breakdowns like that?
Through the chair, for this legislation, I don't have that information. I am not sure if maybe NST, if there's a data set out there that might disaggregate that data based on ward or neighborhood. I have not seen that. The number that I know is from a citywide perspective.
I think, Mr. Chairman, it would be important for us as we're managing the affairs of the city of Cleveland to kind of have a tracking on how that number is. Or, what can we do to, at this table, foster within our program for home ownership or housing, that we should be pushing constantly for home ownership. I know that I have been sitting here, Mr. Chairman, for several years, and I've seen a thrust or a fad of we want to bring people in, but we need to build new homes. But there has been this push to do a lot of rental properties in the city of Cleveland. And so I just think that in order for our city, Mr. Chairman, and to the administration, for us to have a strong, stable city, we need to have the majority, or at least we should be pushing for the bulk of the people who live in the city of Cleveland to own their properties. And I think that that is something that, Mr. Chairman, and to the administration, you've heard me talk about. When we start putting incentivizing developments, we should also have the caveat of incentivizing home ownership in the city of Cleveland. Now, with this particular legislation that we have, Mr. Chairman, that's in front of us, we're supporting the legal process to help people who are low income going through the eviction process. So the question that I would have, Mr. Chairman, to the director, what do the numbers look like? How many people are we actually helping? Because there's more money in this program than what we have allocated here, it sounds like, that we may have other funds also in this program. And if not, the question would be, how many people are we helping?
Through the chair, what I can do immediately following this hearing is to send out the latest. I know Legal Aid does an annual report every year, and that's on their website. I'm happy to find that information and get that out to everybody here.
Okay. Excellent. And then, I know we sat here too, and we had given money to, I don't think it was Cleveland Housing Network, that returned some of their money for helping tenants who did not meet their rent payments. Is there any other programs that could help people who are not meeting their rent requirements that we may not be aware of that's out there?
Through the chair, that legislation that I believe that you're speaking about was switching from CHN, and that program is ongoing through CMHA as the lead partner.
Right, but CMHA
for
doesn't
those.
help anyone but CMHA.
It's for arrears.
Right, it's only for their people and their organization, correct?
I would have to look
That was
back
my
to the
recollection
legislation.
when we were talking about it. So, is there any other programs, Mr. Chairman, to the director that you may know of, that help people who are having problems with making their payments?
Through the chair, no, not to my knowledge. Any widespread programs. There are some programs that exist, but I don't want to speak of them. I know that there's one to help folks become homeowners, to go from rental to homeowner, but I can't speak to that.
And then, Mr. Chairman, lastly, what's your thoughts on us having that kind of component added into what we do here in terms of business and promoting home ownership?
Through the chair, where dollars are available, wherever we can support residents in their most desperate times of need, I am always in my heart. I am always in favor of that. Now, as you and Chairman know, the proof is in the policy. And the details of each and every program and policy. But certainly wherever we can seek to help residents, we want to be sure that we're being supportive of doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Marr.
Thank you. I would just be so remiss if I didn't shout out my old legal aid colleague Hazel Remish, who created the Right to Counsel program as part of a Sisters of Charity Foundation effort. It was like a multi-year process across multiple organizations, and it's so funny how quickly we lose that history. And Hazel's now at Enterprise, but she really spearheaded it. And so I wanted, since we were talking about the origins of it, to make sure her name was spoken in the room, along with her years of work, to make sure that Right to Counsel happened. Through the chair to the director, my only question was around just the error of it being United Way rather than legal aid. Was that a mix-up with CTO, or is United Way going to be a partner in the Right to Counsel program, just not the recipient of this contract? Through the chair.
Through the chair, my understanding is that they are not going to be a part of this program formally. And they had been acting as an in-between for legal aid, and they're no longer going to be acting in that role.
Okay, so they are not involved with the Right to Counsel program, full stop, at this stage. Through the chair.
Through the chair, I can't say full stop. What I can speak to is this contract that the city has that has typically been through United Way that benefits legal aid.
Yeah.
What I know is that our contract is now directly with legal aid. I cannot speak to how or why, but I think many of us are aware that United Way has also been going through some policy transitions.
Yes, understood. All right, thank you. Chair, that was my only question. I just wanted to understand the mix-up.
And ditto, Chairman, about Hazel Remish being an amazing partner, whether it was at Legal Aid or in her work with Ayanna and others at Enterprise.
All right, any further questions? Seeing none, 664-20. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Cormack.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Is our Assistant Law Director ready for some great amendments?
That's
All
our main man.
right.
He's always ready.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend ordinance number 664-2025.
Yes, sir.
All right. In the summary, as well as in section 1, line 2, remove United Way of Greater Cleveland and replace it with the Legal Aid Society. And then there is no estimated cost written in the ordinance, but if it could be reflected in the summary that the amount will change from $500,000 to $750,000.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed.
Through the
Here he
chair
comes.
to Councilman, Section 3 has the not.
Oh, there it is,
exceed
right in
amount.
front of my face.
There-
Look at it right in front of my face. All right.
And just for clarification, I will, considering the number of legal aid entities out there, this will be the Legal Aid Society of Cleveland. I know
Great.
it's obvious, but just putting it on the record.
Thank you, sir. So then in section 3, strike 500,000 and replace it with 750,000. Does our assistant law director have clarity on the amendments?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
The motion is second. Any discussion? See no discussion. All in favor? Yes. Who? A member did second. Who's? Oh, you did. Councilman's Life second. I'm sorry. Discussion. Councilman's Life. You got any more? Any other discussion? Okay. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right. Ayes have it. Thank you. The amendments have passed. Any additional discussion on 664-2025 as amended? Seeing no further discussion, ordinance number 664-2025 as amended stands approved. Thank you all. DPS is adjourned.
Thank you.